Greetings everyone, this is First in 2753 with the next episode of Geopolitical Simulator 4. Return to the golden age of Greece, and today we're going to be talking about economic strategy for Greece. And we're going to go ahead and look at these different industry and industrial sectors. I went ahead and looked at this prior to the video, and I developed a strategy that's going to make a lot of the conservative fans out there happy, because we're going to cut taxes. Actually, we're going to exonerate specific industries from taxes. And 4 different types of sectors or reasons for why I'm exonerating certain industries. Let's just go in here real quick and take a look at this industry info. I always like to put it in volume, not percentage. You know, unless like maybe you're like the United States. I like to see what the actual numbers are. That's what really matters in the country, I think. So if you're looking at GDP, our biggest industry... Oh, before I do this, I wanted to go over overall what the sectors look like, because I did do that as well. So we're looking here, trade balance for the industry sector. All right, these are all things that are manufactured. We have a negative trade balance here. It's not a great... We're not doing great in industry. Only 11% of our GDP comes from the industry. 14% of the population is employed in this sector. So this is a sector that needs a lot of improvement. Yeah, there's the manpower number, employment percentage. Alright, so we need a lot of work done here. The other, let's see here, the other sectors are agriculture, service, and energy. Can't speak. Agriculture is doing better than industry. The trade balance... Oh, I thought we had a positive trade balance. I don't know what that's saying now. That says billions of dollars. That's how much our... Okay, so these numbers are contradicting each other, and I don't know exactly what that means. But you have, I guess, not as much of the GDP involved here. Alright, so this is a contradiction, kind of. Less people involved here. Employment, 10%. So we do need to work on farming. But I'm going to explain why I'm going to focus more on industry, actually, because farming I don't think employs as many people. So that's what's going to lead me to focus more on industry, like in general, like per dollar, per GDP point, if that makes sense. The place where we have most of our economy is in the service sector. Okay. And here we do have a positive trade balance in both sides here. I don't know why that was different in agriculture. It's confusing me. But here we have much more exports going on as far as service. Anyways, GDP is much higher, and it accounts for about 50% of the total country GDP. So there's a lot going on in the service. We're primarily a service economy, is the point there. And then there's also the energy sector, which doesn't give you as much statistics. Here they give you the breakdown of how the energy is produced and consumed. But we do have a positive trade balance according to this factor over here. But it is kind of declining. And not as many people employed here. So all that stuff had to be taken into consideration, and so I looked at 4 different categories for why I want to focus on different industries. And with 3 of those categories, I am different sectors. I don't want to say industries. Sectors would also include not just the industrial sectors, but the agricultural. I'm not going to touch service, not yet really, but agricultural and farming is really what I'm looking at. A little bit of energy. And so the first one is going to be in the industrial sector. This is where I'm going to want to make my first moves. We're going to exonerate a number of industries here in this sector. And primarily what I'm looking at is employment. And we want volume. Here we go. So employment is really driving a lot of the strategies here. Alright, we want to take into consideration how much taxes are being generated. Corporate taxes are being generated. Okay, and like we said before, our biggest industry is the housing industry, and that one I'm actually not going to touch because it does bring in a lot of revenue, although it is declining. But employment's going up, and that is a lot of jobs in the housing sector. It's not the most jobs, right? There's electrical materials, which are producing a lot of jobs. But look how much revenue is coming from electro materials. And, you know, I think if I can stimulate this market, we should definitely create more jobs and probably push GDP a lot higher. Electrical materials are they one of the ones that are in a deficit? Some of these are also in no, they're not. They have a positive trade balance, so we can export electrical materials as well. But electrical materials are critical because they are some of these like secondary fields that a lot of people sort of need. A lot of these industries need, like if you look in sector info, for aluminum you need bauxite, water supplies, and electricities. Electrical materials are in a lot of those, categories. Water supplies is in a ton, especially the agricultural one. Almost every agricultural sector needs water supplies, so that's going to be important. We're definitely going to exonerate the agricultural sector. But going back to the industry, so certain industries definitely can be exonerated from taxes. Chemicals, are they on my list? Chemicals are on my list, but not for the employment purposes, because chemicals, that's a lot of money. Oh, maybe I should take chemicals off my list. I added that wrong. Alright, we'll get back to that in a second. So the ones that are on my list for employment here. Most of all these, look at all these. These are not generating a lot of tax revenue here. Unemployment's going up in all of them. But I think we could probably stimulate a lot of these industries by basically exonerating all these here. Okay, because if you grow the GDP, like the ratio of employment to GDP is really high in the software industry. So it looks like the software industry is going to create a lot more jobs than like building, the building industry would, or the chemical industry would, for sure. So we're going to definitely, and then the water supply is going to be necessary for all the secondary sectors. So I hope I'm making sense here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start exonerating different ones. Now, I am concerned about the impact. I'm going to exonerate industries for employment purposes, but I also want to exonerate other industries that I currently have a surplus in. And I guess I could go into the world. I'd have to go into like each one to show you that. And it was actually easier to do that by just opening up like a trade negotiation with a country and just you know, showing the ones that I lost my whole country here. It would be easier to go into let me just do it real quick to show you. If I just would go here and create a new contract, and then you can kind of, you got to do it with a country that has a lot of different products. You got to do it with like a country like the United States, because you can't do, Turkey might be missing a few things. But if you just run down the list, you can see which ones you have consumption. So automobile, you know, we're only producing 24,000 units, but we need 182,000 units. So there are certain industries like, let's say, well, coal is one of our biggest ones, where we are producing much more than our consumption. A lot of this is under contract, and that's where we're stimulating most of our economy from, especially coal. That's our biggest one. But I'm going to try to stimulate the other surpluses by exonerating certain industries from taxes. And the ones that I'm looking at are going to be nickel, oranges, bauxite, wine, wood, and aluminum. And I don't really have a list to show you that, but I will exonerate. I am planning on exonerating them from taxes. And I looked at all the tax revenue for those guys, and it adds up to like about $3 million. In those industries that I was exonerating for employment purposes, the tax revenue only goes up to about $2 million. And let's take a look at our tax revenue here. We've got a tax revenue of $5.8 billion. So we got some room for tax cuts here. So I'm not too worried about that. So let's go in here and let's check out where we're going to cut. Alright, so those are two factors for exonerating. Creating jobs and creating more surplus. Surplus goods will eventually be sold off through trade deals with other countries, primarily the United States. The third factor for exonerating is going to be to stimulate areas that are in demand, like automobiles. We looked at that. Automobiles has a demand and the negative trade balance, so I'm going to also try to exonerate those taxes. But I am concerned about the political ramifications with a lot of these exonerations, because if you go into the parliament, again, we are I am in a communist party. Although I could switch parties in this game. The Central Alternative Party is the party that I believe I am a member of, and its political tendency is communist altermondialist, which I don't know what that means exactly, but it's communist. It's not extreme communist, I guess, because this is the more extreme, full-blown communist, I'm assuming. But they're going to have a problem with tax cuts for companies, because they don't really want companies, because it's communist. But we're going to go ahead and do it anyways, because it's going to help the economy. So, enough talking. I need to start acting here. And, let's see here. Where's my list? Electrical materials. I don't have this in alphabetical order on my list. Where are you? Electrical materials. Oh, consumer electronics is one. So, let's go ahead and exonerate them. Exonerated. And I'm just going to do the employment ones first, because the employment is the primary goal, because as far as our unemployment rate is still pretty high. Our unemployment rate is at 12%. Economic growth is at 13%. It's fantastic, and there's a lot of room for more growth with inflation being so low. We were in deflation before. So I gotta check these things off as I do it. Consumer electronics, exonerated. I'm just gonna do, like I said, the industries that I'm exonerating for employment purposes. Cement is another one, but that is not under here. Where is cement? Is that under agriculture? Oh no, there it is. I had the my alphabet mixed up. Okay, exonerate. Exonerate. Alright, that was only generating about $27,000 in tax revenue, so I don't have to worry about that at all. Cement is next. Electronical components and electronical materials are next. Let's exonerate these guys. Exonerate. Exonerated. Components. Exonerated. Exonerate. Exonerated. Very good. That's gonna get annoying probably. Okay. Jewelry is another one that looks good for our purposes. Right there. Exonerated. Okay. Software industry and steel. Steel I have a question mark next to, because it does generate the most. Steel is generating about $1.7 million in tax revenue, and the rest of them are generating, you know, the remaining $300,000 in tax revenue. So, like, steel is the only real big one here that I'm doing for jobs. But there's another reason for steel, because steel is another one of those industries which is like found in almost every like sector, one of these secondary secondary industry things. So let's see here, we're gonna exonerate steel, and that's gonna cost us, but again, we got huge revenue in taxes, so we can afford to give some tax cuts here. Alright, the next one's software industry, and yeah, the software industry is next, even though they're probably ahead. There it is, alphabetically. I jumped to steel because I had like a little star next to steel, because that was, again, important because of how it plays into other industries and other sectors. Utility vehicle construction is another one we're going to try to do. We're going to exonerate them. Cha-ching. And then my last one is the water supply. That's another one. That one will help with a lot of the agricultural sectors. And all those exonerations are go. And let's take a look here. It should tell us now if we take a look at what we were looking at before. Or maybe I have to wait. Whoa. They should be exonerated. I guess I have to wait for it to be calculated here. But that should have cost us about $2 million in tax revenue. But again, making $5 billion in surplus. I'm going to go ahead and click play here. We're going to play through a week, and I'm going to see any type of ramifications of that. I do have the employment numbers actually written down here. Electrical material, 189,000. Software industry, 87,000. Water supply, 49,000. Jewelry is 39,000. Electronical consumer goods, 36,000. Cement, 25,000. Steel is only 6,000. Utility vehicles, 144. They're the worst. They only have a. They're only generating $262 in tax revenue for us. So, like, what the heck was the point? Care for refugees, still getting popularity from that. We've got, looks like, air flights from Turkey. Trains are flying around the place here. Alright, a lot of action. It is Wednesday. We're shooting for the next Friday. Or the next Saturday, so we can see what the results are. And like I said, I was worried about any type of political repercussions, but it doesn't look like we're getting any of those. I think I've gotten those before. They were complaining about, I think I had government waste. What is this? Nope, not a problem. I think before they were complaining about the fact that I cut the gun taxes, but I needed that because I needed it to, oh man, look at that. That's a nasty public finance face. I guess that went through. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what the repercussions are here. Tax revenue, budget excess. Wow, that went down a lot. Went down more than I thought. I guess maybe that doesn't factor in the company turnover tax. Alright, but it should help with jobs. So I'm glad that I did this in stages, because that surprisingly went down a lot more than I thought it would. So let's take a look here. Should have our impact now. A little bit of an impact. We're not going to see big impacts over here yet. But go to volume. Oh, I want to go to unemployment. There it is. Alright, so these are all the areas that we exonerated. And unemployment's going up in all these areas, which is good. But unemployment is going up everywhere, pretty much. But I'm hoping that unemployment goes up much more in these areas. And software's already gone up a little bit. What's my big one? Electrical materials, 91. Alright, they've already increased about 2,000 jobs there. So this should drive down the unemployment rate significantly. Yes, it has. And growth is up. And inflation is up. Eek. Okay. So, that might be all I do for now. I was thinking about doing some more, but that inflation jumped up a lot. I might hold off for like a month. Where are we in May? Let's hold off for a little bit. Thank you from our president of Human Sharing and Solidarity. You're welcome. And happiness increase. Very good. More jobs, more happiness. Whoa, 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 whoa. What the heck? Riots. Damn it. Alright. How'd that work? Happiness goes up and there's a revolt? Doesn't make any sense.
Latest news.
That looks like a Roman legion.
Are igniting in several places in the capital. This follows the revelations of the corruption scandal that marred a number of elected officials from the larger metropolitan area. Remember that these people are accused of having embezzled
the scandal is still killing me.
Funds intended for the rehabilitation of the underprivileged neighborhoods Blackstone and Big Pebble.
Yeah. Big Pebble. Was that the name of the neighborhood? Is that what they said? Alright, pause. Okay, increased happiness in Greece, even though the riots are happening, and we still have 100% approval rating. Prime Minister, latest country rankings regard to happiness, namely gross national happiness. Our country has moved up. Good news for our constituents. I remind you that the gross national happiness index is determined by various factors such as access to quality of health care and education, which we've provided that, economic wealth of the country, which is growing, standard of living for its citizens. I gave them jobs. Environment and sanitary conditions. I don't know what's going on with that. Employment. Yes, I definitely improved that, as well as liberty and human rights. So I'm done with the taxes for now, even though I wanted to focus on the surplus. I think that the jobs is the most important thing. And with the economy growing and the jobs, employment going down, inflation going up, we're going to wait till probably next quarter, I think, to take another economic action. You gotta, tinker with things here. Pull on one lever here, pull on another lever there. Somebody said that. I forgot who said that. I think it was an episode of The West Wing or something like that. But I think some economist said it too. So Athens is going to be an issue, and I think I'm going to save this second Athens riot for the next episode because it's been about 20 minutes. And I hope you guys have enjoyed. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you think about my economic strategy and how I'm approaching this. Again, the 4 categories we're looking at. We're going to be looking at unemployment, which I think I hopefully am solving and improving. But the next one's going to be to increase our surplus for trade purposes. And then we also want to try to increase our areas that are weak in providing demand. We're not providing enough supply to meet our demand. And then I also wanted to subsidize those big industries that we already are trading with, which were like coal, cotton, fish, and fuel. Those are like our big industries we're already trading. I wanted to subsidize those and maybe add some more contracts, but we're gonna have to wait with that economy is going pretty solid right now. So next episode is going to be the riots. We'll handle that, and eventually I do plan on talking about my military strategy, which is going to be intervention in Libya here, and we might try to do a little land grab over here and try to take on some of these rebel forces and just maybe get some oil while we're at it. So that's going to be tricky and Machiavellian and all that kind of stuff. So all that's coming up in the next episode. Thank you for next episodes. Thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you did. Feel free to comment down below, share with your friends, and I appreciate all your support. See you in the next episode.